Conservative new media viewers, JLin fans around the world, Charlotte Hornets fans around the world. What's up? It's me, PFA, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert, and we're here to discuss the Charlotte Hornets' 90-88 victory tonight over the Miami Heat in Miami, Florida, in game number 5 of the 2016 first-round series between the two teams in the Eastern Conference of the National Basketball Association. With the win, Houston, I was thinking of something from earlier tonight. Charlotte improves to 3-2 in the series. They now return home for game number 6, where they will seek to win the series and close things out. What happened in this game, the overview, and how did Jeremy do? What happened was Charlotte returned to its normal style of playing tonight, which is more ball movement and a lot of three-pointers attempted and made. That was the difference for them tonight. And what particularly happened was they outplayed Miami in the fourth quarter of this game. They went into the fourth quarter down by 6 points, I believe. They outscored Miami 25-17 in the final quarter. They got a gigantic shot from Courtney Lee after he had gotten an offensive rebound, just like he did in the last game, where he had 2 huge offensive rebounds down the stretch. Tonight he got a huge offensive rebound. I believe he passed the ball to JLin. JLin passed the ball back to him. Courtney shot it 3 points. That was the final margin of the game. Miami had a chance to score again, and they were shut down on defense by Charlotte. Charlotte got the ball back. They inbounded, and they won. So another nail-biter. This was a classic NBA playoff game. Like I said, if you're a neutral observer, it doesn't get any better than this. This was as good as it possibly can get, besides a game-winning shot at the buzzer. This was an incredible game. And you have to give Charlotte an unbelievable amount of credit for them to actually be up in this series and to win this game after they were crushed the first 2 games of the series in Miami. They showed tremendous amount of heart and discipline and belief tonight. And it was just fantastic to watch. How did Jeremy do? Jeremy was very good in this game. 11 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. He played 35 minutes tonight, which was tied for the game high for the Hornets. He and Kemba both played 35 minutes tonight. Shot 4 of 10 from the field, including 0 of 2 from three-point range, 3 of 6 from the free throw line, no steals, no block shots, 2 turnovers, 1 personal foul. His plus-minus was a +6. The only things, and again, I only say negative stuff because I watched Jeremy pretty closely. The only things you could say bad about him tonight, really the only thing, is his shooting touch was a little bit off. He missed some perimeter shots, and he missed a couple free throws. That's just going to happen, and honestly, I think his elbow's been bothering him. He's been icing his elbow. I saw him icing his elbow after shoot-around yesterday, or practice yesterday. And he turned his ankle in this game, which could have affected him as well. That's the only negative thing I can say at all about Jeremy, was his shot was a little bit off tonight. Other than that, he played a long portion of this game. He played good defense, and he had the game-winning assist to Courtney Lee. So this is the 3rd straight game in the playoffs that Jeremy's played well. Sure, he didn't have 20 points, but he only shot 10 times. And what Miami was doing tonight was they were taking away the drives. So for the first 4 games of the series, they've been taking away Charlotte's ability to shoot 3-point shots and letting them drive. Tonight, they wanted to take away the drives more, which meant Charlotte had to shoot the ball more from the perimeter. Jeremy's shot was a little bit off, so it wasn't his night to score big. What it was his night to do was to assist big. I think he led all players in the game in assist. Yes, he did. So, and he had, I would say he had at least 6 unconverted assist opportunities, meaning that if guys hit the shot, he would have had another assist. So he played fantastic tonight. He took what the defense gave him. He still shot 40% from the field. I thought he played a really good, really disciplined, clutch game. He was great in the second quarter, and he was great in the fourth quarter, which, of course, is why he's Mr. Fourth Quarter. So he had his hands all over this victory. Okay, so that's what happened from an overall perspective. We'll talk a little bit more about things now in detail. Let's start with the statistics of the game, okay? Miami got 25 points from Dwayne Wade, 25 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Excellent game from Dwayne. You expect that. He's a playoff veteran. He knows what it's all about, and that's what he certainly got it done tonight. Goran Dragic, 10 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Hassan Whiteside, 11 points, 12 rebounds. Luol Deng, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Joe Johnson, 13 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Justice Winslow, 5 points, 9 rebounds off the bench. Jason Richardson, also off the bench, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. One thing I have to say here as I go over the statistics is that Miami's bench was outplayed by Charlotte's bench. Now, part of that is because you have 2 rookies who are your core bench players for Miami. They also played Gerald Green and Josh McRoberts in this. They're kind of experimenting with their bench. Amari Stoudemire and Udonis Haslem and Dorell Wright did not play tonight. So Spoelstra's trying different things, just like he switched up the defense tonight to let Charlotte shoot more. They're experimenting. This is what happens when you have 2 teams that are matched so evenly. As I said in other videos of this series, this is what this is going to be. This is going to be a real chess match, and whoever solves the complicated puzzle is going to win. And right now, Charlotte's just a little bit better at that. But Miami's doing a good job. Charlotte's a good team. But as I said, Charlotte's bench was better tonight. You can see it in the plus minus. All of Charlotte's bench players had a positive plus minus, and I believe, yes, all of Miami's bench players had a 0 or a negative score in the plus minus. So I said that usually the bench or the role players play best at home as compared with on the road. But Charlotte's bench guys came through big tonight. And I will say I will include Nicholas Batum, who was returning from the foot sprain that he suffered. Nick didn't have great statistics tonight, but he still was important. And I know some JLin fans were unhappy with him, but I'll get to that in a second. But let's go through the stats for the Hornets quickly. Marvin Williams, big game tonight. Was really happy to see him play well on offense. He has been playing well on defense, as people have told me. That is important, and I didn't mention that in the last game completely. He is anchoring the defense. But tonight, he also got it going on offense. 17 points, 8 rebounds. He led the Hornets in scoring. Al Jefferson, 14.7 rebounds. Nice outing for Al. Frank Kaminsky, 8 points, 4 rebounds. Kemba Walker, 14 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Kemba didn't shoot that great either. Jeremy shot better than Kemba did, but Kemba just puts a tremendous amount of pressure on your defense, and you have to focus on him so much. He helps out, even if he's not shooting that great. Courtney Lee, the hero of the game, 8 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. Off the bench, Spencer Hawes, 6 points, 4 rebounds. Cody Zeller, 4 points, 3 rebounds. And Nick Batum, 8 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Nick came off the bench because he went to Coach Clifford and told him that he wanted to do that. Reason being is the Hornets won the last 2 games, and they switched their starting lineup, and it worked. So Nick's like, well, why mess it up? I'll just come off the bench. And ended up working out really well. And what I wanted to say, JLin fans are unhappy with Nick because I believe when he and Jeremy were in the game together, in the second quarter in particular, I believe it was. I have it written down. I'll go look through it in here in a second. Nick was handling the ball more. But one of the reasons why that happens is because then it's easier for Jeremy to get shots. In other words, Nick can kind of set guys up, whereas Jeremy doesn't have to spend all of his energy bringing the ball up and looking for passes. Jeremy can kind of get open for shots sometimes. So it's not always a bad thing. Like in the last game, Jeremy said after the game that he got tired down the stretch of the game. And so it was Kemba's turn to take over. Well, if you have Nick handling the ball more, and Nick's fresh because he hasn't played, even though his conditioning might be off because he hasn't played, his legs are fresh. So let him handle the ball a little bit more, because then it takes the burden off of Jeremy some. And then Jeremy's fresher down the stretch of the game, and it's easier for him to score. So I really didn't have a problem with that. What's happening now is the games are pretty much every other day, I think, right now. Having a day between games is good. You can rest, but it's even better if you can get 2 days in between games. And so guys aren't getting that right now. They do get more tired. They need more rest. So I was, like I said, I was actually okay with that with Nick. And then later on in the game, Jeremy was handling the ball more. And still, Jeremy was the one making the most assists. I mean, he was the one getting the most done from a point guard perspective for the Hornets. Okay. Let me just look at what any other overall thoughts I just have to say, and then we'll do a little bit of quarter by quarter. It's Charlotte. They're playing much better defense right now, based upon, they're holding Miami down. The first 2 games were just out of this world, particularly game number 1. I went back and I looked at what the offensive rating for Miami in game 1 was 147. I don't know if I've ever even seen that number before for an offensive rating. That's the highest I've ever seen. And so I said after that I didn't think they were going to be able to do that again, and they haven't been able to do it again. Charlotte's held them down much, much better. Also, as I mentioned, the team was very clutch coming back in the fourth quarter, particularly on the road. Being able to do that shows a lot of mental toughness. And Charlotte showed versatility in being able to go back to their normal way of playing today, which is ball movement and three-point shooting, even though they have a different starting lineup than what they're used to. So even though it's not Cody Zeller and Nick Batum in the starting lineup, they still adapted to the defensive changes that Miami implemented. And just like I said, it's extremely impressive. Miami's a really good team. They're very disciplined. They're talented. Sure, they're not Miami of LeBron James and Chris Bosh and Wade, but this is a very good team. And Charlotte's beating them. And they're beating them legitimately. I know people in Miami, have been complaining about the referees. I don't think that's legit. Miami shot more free throws tonight than Charlotte did. So, I don't know how you can complain about that. I don't like to get into criticizing the refs too much. I think it's kind of a cop-out. I think that the reason why Charlotte got more free throws in the first 4 games, and I believe they did, was because Miami's strategy was to let them drive. And if you let Kemba and Jeremy drive to the rim, they're going to get fouled a lot. Rather than if you are sitting there and taking 3-point shots, you're not going to get fouled as much. So I don't think there was any conspiracy. I just didn't buy into that at all. And unfortunately, after the game, one of the Miami reporters was going down the same path towards the referee and fouls issue. And I don't think that's a factor. I don't think it was a factor tonight at all. And in fact, Charlotte could have been upset with some of the calls. And I'll mention one of those as we go through the little quarter by quarter. That's about it. Just from an overview, this was an amazing game, and I'm just incredibly impressed that Charlotte won. And it just shows all of the resilience and all of the heart that so many people didn't realize about this team. And we said they get counted out over and over and over again. One other thing I'll mention before doing the quarter by quarter is JLin was given a tremendous amount of praise before the broadcast and during the broadcast, and that's really good to see. The guys that are calling the game, or that called this game, it's not the same people, I don't think, that have called every single game, are Ian Eagle, who is from New York City, or he calls the Brooklyn Nets games. He's familiar with Jeremy from Insanity, I'm sure. He was in New York, I believe, when that happened, so he knows Jeremy. He definitely respects Jeremy. And the other person calling the game tonight was Brent Berry, who also seems to have a high regard for Jeremy. But I tweeted out a segment from NBA TV, and I don't know when it took place. It might not have been today, but the video surfaced today. They had Greg Anthony and Isaiah Thomas, who the former Piston, not the current Celtic, and they were both talking about how much of an impact Jeremy has made. They both gave him a ton of respect, said he's a good player, he deserves it, he's earned it, etc. And then on the actual TNT pregame and then halftime, Kenny Smith and Charles Barkley both gave JLin a ton of credit. So what I'm saying is that, look, this has been, for a lot of fans, this hasn't been the perfect season. They wanted Jeremy to start and didn't think he was getting credit and respect, but now he's getting a lot of respect and a lot of notoriety because of what he's done in this playoff series. And so the playoffs is where you can really make your reputation. That's why I'm so happy that Jeremy is stringing together good games. This is his third good game in a row, I believe, in this series. Game 1 and 2 were tough. They were tough for everybody on Charlotte. Jeremy had 18 points in Game 3, 21 points in Game 4, 11 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds tonight, and he played great, and he had the game-winning assist. So he's getting respect. Plus, to be completely honest with you, the way in which Miami was defending Charlotte by forcing Charlotte to drive worked out really well for Jeremy the first 4 games. And I'm just saying that to be completely fair and neutral. What I'm telling you is Jeremy is still working on his perimeter shooting because he's changing his shot form. Because Miami played a strategy of we want you to drive, Jeremy's been at his absolute best. He might not be able to score as many points if Miami stays with the current strategy of we want you to shoot from the outside, because that's what Jeremy's struggled with a little bit this year, but he will get it. And that's the reason why it's important to be a complete and well-rounded basketball player. You, as an offensive player, want to be able to do whatever. You want to be able to take advantage whatever the defense allows you to do. If they want you to shoot, you got to be able to shoot. If they want you to drive, you got to be able to drive. Jeremy can drive. Now he's working on getting the shooting even better and better. So, like I said, he didn't force it tonight. His jump shot wasn't completely on, so he didn't keep taking shots. That's smart basketball. Move the ball. Your team hit 50% on threes. Just do that. You know, that's what was there. That's where you're at tonight. And it worked perfectly, and Jeremy played exactly as he should have within those constraints. Here's what the defense is telling you to do. Here's what they're allowing you to do. Your jump shot's not perfectly on. Move the ball. And then when the drives are there, take them and keep shooting, because if they're going to give you the shot, you got to take them. You have to take them. So that's basically how this is playing out, and I'm just glad to see Jeremy getting the respect that he deserves, and his stock is rising quickly. And again, he's almost certainly going to be a free agent this upcoming summer, which is what the Iron Eagle said. Yeah, he's going to be a free agent. In other words, he's going to opt out of his contract, which almost certainly he will, because of the salary cap increase. Even if he wants to stay in Charlotte, he should get paid more money. So, I mean, he's likely to opt out. But it's just really good to see a whole bunch of different people giving him his respect. Look, Jeremy's career arc has been guy from Harvard, undrafted, team to team, nobody wants him, everything, boom, bam, super unbelievable insanity, and then it got tough. And then he got the starter's role, and his skill set wasn't complete, and maybe the teammates weren't thrilled with him, maybe the coaches weren't thrilled with him, and so it's like he was at low, then he was super high, then he was back low again, and now he's on the way back up. Now he's coming back up, coming back on the scene, but this time he's ready because he has much more of a complete skill set. And as he works and he gets that three-point shooting, the perimeter shot, and the form even better, he'll be even more prepared and more ready for a sustained run of good play. And like I said, of course he can start. That's not even an issue. I mean, they said the NBA TV guys were like, he's the best backup point guard in the league. I mean, that can be a little bit of an insult, but it's also, I mean, there's some really good backup point guards in the league. So but as Jeremy continues to develop, of course, why wouldn't he start? You'd want him to start so he can produce more. There's no reason to use him as a backup, although there are situations like Manu Ginobili for the Spurs over the years. There are situations, but the bottom line is he's improving. People know it, and it can last this time. The skill set is more well-rounded now than it was in New York by a considerable margin. So this is durable. Okay. All right, let's go through quarter by quarter. Jeremy came into the game with 6 minutes and 3 seconds left in the first quarter, and the score at that point in time was tied 14-14. Okay? He missed a layup in transition. He came down. He was going at a quick rate of speed. He went up, kind of laid the ball off too hard, and my understanding was that he was worried about Hassan Whiteside. In other words, I better shoot this quickly before Hassan Whiteside might have a chance to block it. And so sometimes a shot blocker will influence your shot. Even if he doesn't block it, the thought of him blocking it affects your shot. And that's what I think happened to Jeremy on that layup. Then moving on to late into the first quarter, he had an unconverted assist opportunity. He passed the ball to Frank Kaminsky for a three-pointer that was not hit. Then Josh McRoberts came into the game, and I said expanded Miami bench. So as we said, they want to use more guys. They want to try different guys out because they lost 2 games in a row, so it's time to try something different. We're going to try our defense a little differently. We're going to try a different rotation pattern. So they brought in Josh McRoberts, who ended up not doing very much in this game. Okay. Then Jeremy had his first turnover of the game. He drove on the right side of the court. He went into the lane, and he did the stop and pivot move against Goran Dragic. However, they ruled that he was in the lane for 3 seconds. So you're not allowed to be in the lane for more than 3 seconds. And so they said he drove into there, he stopped, he turned around, and the whole thing took more than 3 seconds. That's what they ruled. John is calling me right now. Let's see. I'll get back to him in a little bit here. Yeah, I'll talk to him a little bit more later. So Jeremy got the 3-second call. We're near the very end of the first quarter here. Gerald Green came in. I think he checked in the first time now for Miami. Then Jeremy was fouled. He went for a reverse shot. He kind of went along the baseline, running from right to left. He had the ball, went up for the shot, and this is when he turned his ankle. I believe it was his right ankle, and he fell down. And it's one of those things where he got up and he kind of relaced and retied his shoes. If you get an ankle sprain, a lot of times the first thing that'll happen was it will swell. And so you want to tie your shoelaces very, very tight to prevent it from swelling up during the game so you can get through the game. Now, we're going to have to see how Jeremy feels tomorrow. Hopefully this won't swell up too much because as we were talking about with Nick Batum and his foot in the last video, sometimes the swelling is the hardest thing to deal with because you just can't fit your shoe over your foot. So hopefully Jeremy will be all right. He seemed to play pretty much okay the rest of the game. He didn't look too slowed down because of it, but we'll know more, and he'll know more tomorrow. At the end of one quarter, 28-25 for Charlotte. So they started in a deficit, but they were able to kind of grab the lead by the end of the first. Moving on to the second quarter, the lineup now was Jeremy, Nick Batum, Marvin Williams, Cody Zeller, and Spencer Hawes. So a little bit more size there with Nick and Marvin playing the shooting guard and the small forward roles. Then Jeremy had his second unconverted assist opportunity. This was to Cody Zeller, who was not able to convert a layup. Then he had another one, went to Frank Kaminsky for a three-pointer that was not made. Spencer Hawes scored. That made it 32-28. And at this point in time, now Jeremy was handling the ball. So I think in the first quarter was when Nick Batum was handling the ball a little bit more. And Lin fans on Twitter weren't really happy about this. But at this point in time, Jeremy was handling the ball more. I then think he got a assist for a foul, but I'm not sure about that. That's what I wrote down. I missed it because I missed the play because I was taking notes at the time. But it'd be another one of the instances where he was helping to spread the ball around, even though he does not get credit with an assist. Okay, then now I think maybe Nick, it looks like I think Jeremy and Nick were kind of going back and forth to who was handling the ball. That's typical for their offense. It's pretty typical for their offense that, you'll see it with Nick and with Kemba and Jeremy doing the same thing. Jeremy will take a couple possessions, then Nick will take a couple possessions. Sometimes you'll see Courtney Lee take the ball handling once or twice. So there's some of that's just kind of back and forth and just normal stuff. Then Jeremy had his first score of the game. He cut backdoor, so his man was looking at the ball. While the man turned his head, Jeremy broke towards the basket. The ball was passed to him, and he got a layup on the left side of the basket. That made the score 34-28. Then he had his first assist of the game. It was a no-look pass to Marvin Williams, who cut down. He cut towards the basket himself, kind of made a break for the basket. Jeremy saw him, passed the ball to him, no-look style, and Marvin Williams laid it in. That made the score 36-28 for Charlotte, and that led to a Miami timeout. Miami, at that point in the game, couldn't hit a shot. Everything they threw up was coming off. So Charlotte was in a good groove. The defense was really picking up for Charlotte, as it has picked up in the last now 3 games. After game 1 and game 2, when Miami couldn't miss anything, they shot 58% from the field in both of those games. Now Charlotte's starting to kind of bring them back down to earth, and that's what they were doing at this stretch of the game where Miami couldn't score at all. The lead got up to 12 points, 40-28. I believe that was the largest lead that the Hornets would have in the entire game. Jeremy then had his second assist, once again to Marvin Williams. Jeremy it looked like a Horns play, which is basically like a crisscross play in the lane. One guy goes down one side of the lane on a diagonal, and the other guy goes on the other diagonal. Jeremy was going from upper right to lower left, and Marvin Williams was going from upper left to lower right. They crossed. Jeremy dished the ball to Marvin, and once again, he had a little reverse layup on the right-hand side. Okay. Still middle of the second, Jeremy was fouled on a drive. It was not a shooting foul, but Miami was in the penalty, which meant that Jeremy did get 2 free throw shots. He made the first one and missed the second. As we mentioned earlier, Jeremy's shooting form was a little off, so he missed a couple free throws tonight, but that's okay. It worked out. Moving on late in the second, Jeremy had his second missed shot of the game. It was a 3 in transition. he was on the right side. I would say it's about 50 degrees right of the top of the arc. He pulled up. He had a clean look. It just didn't go in, and unfortunately it led to a Miami layup. And now the tide started to turn. And I actually thought that play by Jeremy kind of gave Miami some energy. Now, again, I'm not blaming anything on Jeremy here. There's a natural up and down to the game. And certain plays lead to runs. And I thought that Jeremy shot the ball. It was a three-pointer. Usually if you miss a three-pointer, the rebound is really strong. It comes off very far and very hard. Because it came off so far and so hard, Miami had an easy transition opportunity. They were able to convert that, and that gave them a little bit of confidence, like, hey, finally the ball's going through the basket again, because they were just in a dry spell where they couldn't score. That play kind of changed things a little bit. Again, it's not like it's all Jeremy's fault. It's just I thought that was a little bit of a turning point moment. That's one of the reasons why you have to be careful when you take that shot, because that can happen. All right. Okay. Then after that play, Jeremy missed three, Miami layup. Then Kemba Walker was blocked. He went to go for a layup. The shot was blocked. Then Miami got another transition basket. That was leading to a 8-1 Miami run. So as I said, they were kind of, now they're on the comeback trail. Momentum is changing. They're still behind in the game, but now the crowd's getting back into the game. Now they're only down 5 points rather than 12 points, and things are starting to turn their way. Then Wade hit a really nice, he had a dunk in transition. That made even the crowd even crazier. But then Jeremy answered it with, he had a nice pass to Al Jefferson for his own dunk, kind of answered Wade's dunk. That made the score 45-40. Soon after that, Jeremy had his fourth assist of the game. That went to Al Jefferson for a little pick and roll hook. Somebody told me on Twitter, I said that Jeremy was making things happen and that he had a lot of assists in the second half, but the truth is he did have most of the assists in the first half, which is what that person told me, and I don't remember who it is, or I would say who it was right now. Might have been Dallas Jack. I can't remember. Then Jeremy got his first foul of the game. He was charged with a blocking foul against Luol Deng when, honestly, I thought Luol Deng basically ran him over. And I think that, the Brent Berry, who was the analyst for the game, said essentially the same thing. Then Jeremy had a nice defensive play where he ran Joe Johnson off the three-point line. So he made him drive rather than just shooting an open three. Soon after that, he had his fifth assist of the game. Really nice little pick-and-roll play where he just kind of wrapped the ball around the defender to Al Jefferson for a nice little, just a simple little push-in shot. Then he had a good defense and then some tough defense. He was guarding Wade a little bit in this stretch. And as we went to halftime, the score was 49-47 for Charlotte. You had to feel good about what they were doing. They were in this game. It wasn't a blowout. Remember, the first two games in Miami had a 40-point quarter in the first half. In game number one, it was a 40 points in the first quarter. In game number two, it was 40 points in the second quarter. And Charlotte was down big in both of those games. Now, you got the lead at halftime. Miami's going to make a run, but you're right there. Now you actually believe you can win this thing. You can compete with this team on their home court. Going into the third quarter, Jeremy came into the game for Kemba Walker with 7 minutes and 2 seconds left in the third quarter. This time the score was 58-57, and Kemba was struggling with his shooting. He was just 2 for 10 shooting in the game, and when he came out of the game, you could see him sitting on the sidelines, and he was upset. He was upset that he was missing shots. So maybe just kind of Clifford took him out to just kind of let him cool out a little bit, just Just, okay, don't worry about it. Just get a break and go back in. Jeremy was then fouled for the third time in the game, and I made the note that said, Dragic can't guard Jeremy Lin. Charles Barkley, during halftime, as I said, he was praising Jeremy Lin, and one of the things that Barkley said was that whenever Charlotte plays Jeremy Lin and Kemba together, Miami can't guard them. And that's, I'm just saying right there, Dragic can't guard Lin. He's too quick, and he's getting into the lane. It's making a real problem for them. Okay, and Kenny Smith was saying much of the same thing. He was saying, look, Jeremy changes the pace of the game, and he puts so much pressure on your defense that it changes everything. It alters everything and gives open opportunities for Charlotte. Okay. Then I put that Miami is sealing the paint more. They were committing more defenders to stop drives. And this is why Jeremy, I think, didn't score more and why he had to kind of move the ball around a little bit more. So they were allowing Charlotte to shoot three-pointers and putting more effort in stopping Jeremy's drives and Kemba Walker's drives. Okay, so that's why you hear Jeremy say something like, you got to take what the defense is giving you. If they're going to do that, then you got to pass around or you got to take perimeter shots. Okay. Then I put that they're putting super ball pressure on Lin's dribbling. So Jason Richardson, as I've said in earlier videos of the series, he's just a really good one-on-one defender when the man has the ball. And so he was just all over Jeremy, putting a lot of pressure on Jeremy. But Jeremy handled it pretty well. He did, however, at this instant, he stepped out of bounds. It looked like Jason Richardson had fouled him, but Jeremy, they called it that he stepped out of bounds. However, on a replay, it showed that the ball actually went off of Jason Richardson. It didn't go off of Jeremy out of bounds. So that was just kind of a missed call. This is why I don't get too caught up with the referee stuff. If you go back and look at games, you can find 100 different things where something was a mistake. And Charlotte got the short end of the stick there. I'm sure Miami got the short end of the stick other times, but it usually pretty much evens out. Okay. Then Jeremy had his third miss of the game. This was a jump shot. As I said, he has to hit jump shots because they're closing down the driving lanes. So it's like, okay, we're going to make you beat us with perimeter shots, which is the opposite of the way that they played against Charlotte the first 4 games of the series. And as I mentioned earlier, you got to give credit to Charlotte because they adapted to that and adapted to it well. Now, Charlotte couldn't hit a shot. At this point in the game, Miami had retaken the lead. So Miami's on a run. 62-57 for Miami. They're playing excellent defense is Miami. And at this point, Charlotte was 0 for its last 12 shooting. They were perimeter shots because Miami was closing off the driving lanes. Okay. Brent Berry then said Charlotte must move the ball more to go against this kind of new defensive alignment. That's what Charlotte started to do, I thought Jeremy was a big part of that. Late in the third, Jeremy missed his 4th shot of the game. The shot was short. So several of Jeremy's shots tonight were short. And as we talked about before, usually that indicates you're not getting enough power in your shot. Usually that comes down to your legs. So maybe his ankle was bothering him. Or maybe it's just a shooting form or some combination of ankle, elbow, legs tired, whatever it was. But he missed a couple shots there. Then had a nice play where I think he advanced the ball to Nick Batum. Nick Batum passed the ball to Corey Zeller, who then got a dunk. Now Charlotte was coming back. It was only 63-61. Miami only led by 2 points then. Then, after Miami's timeout, they got another little push, made the lead back up to 6, 70-64 to Miami. That may have been about as big as their lead got in this game also. They didn't get too big of a lead. Even early on, it was, 6 or 8 points. Maybe it was 8. Then Jeremy was fouled for the 4th time in the game. He took a jump shot right around the free throw line against Joe Johnson, and he kind of yelled out to let the referee know he was hit. On replay, somebody thought that he flopped. I don't know. I actually didn't see the replay, but like I said, when Jeremy gets hit so much that you got to take the fouls that you can get. Then he had finally another unconverted assist opportunity right at the end of the third quarter. He passed the ball to Cody Zeller, and Cody Zeller missed a short hook. So as we went at the end of three quarters, now Miami had the lead, 70-65. So they're up 5 points. They were down 2 points at halftime. They outscored the Hornets 7 points in the third quarter. And as we went to the fourth quarter, now it was up to the Hornets to see if they could make a final push and win this thing. And, of course, that's what they were able to do. Early in the fourth, the lineup was Kemba, Jeremy, Nick Batum, Frank Kaminsky, Spencer Hawes. Jeremy had a nice little spin scoop layup, I believe, against Dragic on the right side of the basket. Then Kemba was once again driving to the basket, and his shot was blocked. Miami came down the other end, and they hit a three-pointer. This sequence was similar to the sequence that Jeremy had earlier, where Jeremy came down, missed a three-pointer, and then they went and got a transition basket. It's like a momentum swinger. That's what this play was right here. But it was Kemba involved in it rather than Jeremy. That made the score 77-70, and it looked like things were slipping away from Charlotte now. The crowd was crazy. The team, Miami, was pumped up, and it was like, this could get away from Charlotte, but it didn't. On the next possession, they were very disciplined. They ran their offensive set. Spencer Hawes hit a nice little floater that just kind of took the air out of the building a little bit, like, okay, we're here too. You're not just gonna go on some big run. Then Kemba Walker did have a turnover. Joe Johnson shot an air ball. Charlotte scored again to make the score 76-72. Then there was a timeout on court, like it was like a television timeouts. There are certain times during the game where they take a timeout for television advertising. And in other words, neither team calls a timeout, but it's called a timeout on the floor or a TV timeout. And I believe that's what this was right here. Okay. Then I made the note that says that the Miami rookies are finally stepping up. Again, you expect role players to play well at home. Winslow and Richardson really hadn't played that well in this game, but now they were starting to play well and kind of exert their influence on the game. Kemba sat down now, so the lineup was JLin, Courtney Lee, Nick Batum, Marvin Williams, and Cody Zeller. So this is a relatively small lineup, but you still have three terrific perimeter defenders in there. Well, actually, four if you include Jeremy, but you have three bigger guys, Courtney Lee, Nick Batum, Marvin Williams. Now, Nick is hurt, so his mobility isn't what you want, but you that's kind of like a power defensive lineup against wings. And that was good because Dwayne Wade just came back in. And he was going to start doing his thing. So it was a nice lineup, I thought, by Coach Clifford. Jeremy then had an assist, a big assist to Nick Batum for a made three-pointer. I think that was Nick's. Might have been the first shot he hit in the game. Certainly it was the first three-pointer he hit, and that was a big basket. That cut the lead down to 1 point, 76-75. Then Hassan Whiteside scored, and Jeremy came down, and he missed about a 13-foot floater push shot coming off a pick and roll. Like I said, his perimeter shots, his little in-between shots weren't all hitting tonight, but it doesn't matter. He still did a lot in this game. Like I said, you have to know when it's not your night, and you have to move the ball. If it's not your night and your shot's not going in, then get it to somebody who is hot in that night, okay? Like Marvin Williams was hot in this game. He got the ball a lot. Then there's a timeout again on the court. I think, again, this is another one of these TV timeouts. Miami with the 1 point lead, still 78-77 now. 5:39 left in the game, and I wrote this down, and this is important for Jeremy Lin fans to hear, but it's Lin's offense now. What I meant by that is earlier in the game, Nick Batum was handling the ball. Now it was almost exclusively Jeremy handling the ball. Why? Because Nick's hurt, and Jeremy already has 5 or 6 assists. He's the one that needs the ball in his hand. It's like giving the ball to a shooter that's hitting shots. If Jeremy's getting you a bunch of assists, then let him have the ball. And that's what Clifford did, and I thought it worked really well. Then Jeremy came out of the game. So at that timeout, with 5 minutes and 39 seconds left, Jeremy came out of the game. And the reason why he came out of the game then was he had just played 14 straight minutes. And like I said, these guys are on 1 day rest in between the games. Jeremy played 35 minutes in this game. He's playing on 1 day's rest. He's tired. You want to give him one more break before the end, just as what he did with Kemba a couple minutes earlier in the fourth quarter. All right. Lineups now: Kemba, Courtney Lee, Nick Batum, Marvin, and Cody Zeller. I put will this work? And actually it did work out okay. And it's good because Jeremy was able to rest. Charlotte scored. That made that they went up. Nick hit another 3. That put Charlotte up by 2 points. Then they got the lead up to 3 points. Dwayne Wade got 2 free throws. That cut Charlotte's lead down to 82-81. Kemba then missed a 3-pointer. And after that, Cody Zeller traveled under the hoop for a timeout or for a turnover. We moved to the final 4 minutes of the game, still 82-81 for Charlotte. There were 3 minutes and 45 seconds left. Steve Clifford wanted to put Jeremy Lin back into the game, but he couldn't. The referee wouldn't let him. There are certain stoppages of play where you're allowed to put a guy back in, and there's certain ones where you're not allowed to put them back in. I can't remember all of the details on that, but the referee judged that Lin couldn't come back into the game, and Steve Clifford was very unhappy about that. Right after that, Luol Deng hit a 3-pointer, and that made the score 84-82. Who knows? Maybe if Jeremy was in the game at that point in time, Luol does not hit the 3-pointer. But Jeremy came back into the game, and he came in for Nick Batum. My guess is that Nick was probably tired at that point in time because he's playing a lot and he hadn't played in a week. So if Jeremy had been in the game, he might have been able to make a better defensive effort against Luol Deng than Nick Batum did. But whatever, that's the way it goes. That's why Clifford wanted him in the game. 84-82 now. Miami's up. It's about 3 minutes and 23 seconds left. Lineup is Kemba, Jeremy, Courtney, Marvin, and I think Cody Zeller. Although I believe that's right. Marvin hit a huge 3-point shot, just a great shot. That put Charlotte up 85-84. Dwayne Wade hit a floater. That went in. Dwayne Wade hit a jumper. That went in. Now Miami was up 87-85, I believe, or something like that, 88-84. I don't know, something. Jeremy then got his final score of the game. It was a long 2-pointer. He was trying to shoot a 3-pointer. He was about 5 degrees left of the top of the arc, and they ruled that he just stepped on the line. So that made the score 88-87. Miami came down. They missed. Jeremy got the ball, and he came back up. He missed. Like a quick little jump shot. He was just trying to get him before their defense was set. Okay? Then came the play when Courtney Lee got a breakaway in transition. He went up for a layup. The layup was missed, and it appeared as though Dwayne Wade had goaltended it. Goaltending on a layup try is if the ball hits the backboard and then you touch it. But then on the replay, it actually looked like Wade may not have touched the ball. However, you can also get goaltending if you hit the backboard and that like affects the way the ball bounces off the backboard. You understand? So it's like if that affects the flight of the ball, that is goaltending. It was such a close play. I honestly don't know what happened. I thought it was goaltending when it happened. Charlotte thought it was goaltending. Courtney Lee was very upset with the play. And, I mean, it was a huge play because if that layup goes in and it did not go in, Charlotte's up 1 point. But now Miami's up 1 point. They have the ball. They take the timeout with 1 minute left in the game exactly. Courtney Lee's unhappy. Charlotte's unhappy. They thought they got robbed by the referees there and so forth. Like I said, that's why it's very hard for me to feel bad about Miami and the refereeing in this game. Then Miami came down. They missed a shot. Charlotte's ball with maybe about 40 seconds left, something like that. I don't remember who shot the ball for Charlotte. Somebody put up a shot. I think it was Kemba. But I don't remember. Somebody took a shot. Ball came off of the rim, and who was right there to grab it? Courtney Lee, just like he was in game number 4. Courtney Lee, huge offensive rebound. He passes the ball back out to Jeremy, and then Courtney Lee runs to basically the top of the arc. Jeremy throws the ball back to him. Courtney Lee takes a three-pointer, and he drills it. With 25 seconds left, he hits the three-pointer. That's put Charlotte up 90-88. It's instant redemption for Courtney Lee, who just supposedly missed a layup that might have been goaltended. JLin with the assist. That is his 7th assist of the game, and it turns out that it was going to be the game-winning assist. Right after that play, it was 25 seconds left, Miami timeout. Jeremy came out of the game for Nick Batum. People asked me on Twitter, why did he take Jeremy out? And I said it was for defense because Jeremy's shorter and Nick Batum's taller. And then people said to me, well, if he wanted someone bigger, why didn't he take Kemba out? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. That's a good question, and I have to hear what Clifford said after the game. But look, if someone's going to get taken out, if one of the point guards is going to get taken out late, it's probably going to be Jeremy, whether he should be or not. Although he did take Kemba out of this game in the second quarter, I think, when Kemba couldn't hit a shot. So Clifford has shown in this series that he will take Kemba out. I don't know what the decision was. Honestly, it could have been Jeremy was tired. Could have been Jeremy's ankle was hurting. I have no idea. But that's what the decision that he made. I think he wanted a bigger defender. That's what happened. Miami inbounds the ball. I believe it was a scramble sequence. I think that Kemba blocked Dragic shooting a three-pointer in the quarter. Wade ended up with the ball. He got blocked or missed a shot or something. It was a turnover somehow. It was hard to see the sequence. Charlotte ends up with the ball with 3 seconds left. All they have to do, they're up by 2 points. The sequence you expect to happen is they inbound the ball, the guy gets fouled, and he hits 2 free throws, and Charlotte would win. Okay. Instead, Spencer Hawes inbounds the ball and almost turned it over. He almost made a turnover on the inbounds. Fortunately, and the call on the floor, the referees called that it was Miami's ball. They had to review it. Turns out it went off of Dwayne Wade, so it was Charlotte's ball. They had a second chance to inbound the basketball, did Charlotte. Inbounded the ball, threw it kind of over the defender's head. Courtney Lee caught it. Nobody fouled him. Game over. That's it. And Charlotte escapes with just an incredible victory, 90-88. That's it. Charlotte ecstatic. They're going home with the 3-2 series edge. It was an exceptional game. It was fun to watch. I certainly recommend watching it if you didn't get to see it and you can get your hands on a replay of it or whatever. Just a phenomenal performance. Just a great playoff game by itself. Certainly a phenomenal performance for the Charlotte Hornets. I don't know who picked them to win this game. I thought they had a good chance to win. I thought they would have a chance in this game. I didn't know if they were going to win. But as Clifford said after, I think he said after game number 4, I believe it was game number 4, basically said, look, you can't fool the guys in the league. They know if they have a chance or not, and they have to believe it for themselves. This team believes in themselves. They believe they are really good. They believed they can win this game, and that's why they won. And, I mean, they proved they were right. I mean, all credit to them. This has been an underrated team the entire year. They're definitely better than what people think. I can guarantee you that certainly some of the conversation, at least for Miami, is going to be about the officials. It's not about the officials. It's not about the referees. It's about Charlotte out-executed Miami down the stretch. And I know that Miami, Dwayne Wade, listened to him after the game. He wasn't happy about the officials, but he still gave Charlotte credit, and they deserve credit because they earned this victory, and it was a difficult one. So that is it. We're going back for game number 6 coming up in Charlotte, North Carolina. Today is Wednesday. That game will take place on Friday. As I said, there's only one day in between the games right now, and that means I'm sure they're probably home right now. They probably already flown out of Miami and are back home in Charlotte right now. Guys got to get their rest, heal up, get treatment tomorrow for whatever's bugging them. Jeremy's got to get treatment on his ankle. Hopefully his ankle will be okay. And then we're lacing them right back up less than 48 hours here in the United States. That will be on Friday, April 29th. And I'm looking at the schedule right now, and you know what? They don't have a time for it yet. At least I don't see it listed yet, so I can't even tell you what time it's going to take place right now. I'm sure it'll be announced in time. My guess is that it'll be sometime at 7 p.m. Eastern time or later. It won't be any earlier than 7 o'clock. We'll just have to see. But it could be 7 o'clock, could be 8 o'clock. Those would be my two guesses. I don't think they'll go much later than that for an East Coast game. I know, just stay tuned and keep on the lookout, and we'll take it from there. But can't wait. Game number 6. The Hornets have the chance to win their first playoff series, and I don't even know how long, at least 14 or 15 years. Jeremy has never been beyond the first round. This is a chance for him to get beyond the first round and have his 4th consecutive good playoff game, and I certainly hope that can be the case, and we'll be rooting for it. That is it for now. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I never did the woo, so I'll do it now. Woo! It's pretty late here, so I don't want to be too loud right now with that. But your comments below. Thanks to Gary Chen for the artwork you're looking at right now. Gary is a member of the Jeremy Only Lin Garden fan group, which is headquartered in Taiwan. You can learn more about Gary and the Jeremy Only Lin Garden fan group if you follow the information in the video description below the video player for Gary and for the Jeremy Only Lin Garden. Also there you'll find information so you can check out highlights of game number 5. And finally there you'll find information about how you can join the Conservative New Media Facebook group and how you can follow us on Twitter as well. Tweet out during the games and when important things happen between the games as well. Once again, I'm PFV Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. Thanks a lot for watching Conservative New Media. We strive to be the #1 Jeremy Lin YouTube fan channel. This was just a phenomenal game, and it's a phenomenal night for Jeremy Lin, and it's an incredible night for the Charlotte Hornets. They know they can win, and I expect them to come out with an incredible amount of energy and intensity in game number 6. And you don't want to get too geeked up, but the crowd's going to be crazy, as it should be. and hopefully the guys can kind of find the right intensity level so they maximize their chances in game number 6. But I got to tell you, I'm feeling pretty good, especially after this win tonight. This was an extremely impressive win, and as I mentioned, Jeremy was right there for it. He was right there to have the game-winning assist, and all credit to Courtney Lee for hitting the shot, and credit to all the guys on the team and the coaching staff as well. They made great adjustments. They did exactly what they needed to do, and now you have to understand, Miami came into this series. Miami is one of the most popular teams in the league. One of the 4 or 5 most popular, okay? They had a whole bunch of hype, and everybody was already talking about, because they finished the season so well after Chris Bosh went down, and they went and they were playing this small lineup and hitting threes and scoring a bunch. People were already talking about Miami playing Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Finals. So it's like this was like a speed bump for them. And after Nick Batum got hurt, it was like a formality. There was no chance the Hornets could win. And now the Hornets are on the chance of upsetting that entire narrative. So this is epic. This is incredible. And I hope you'll have a chance to be able to watch on Friday, April 29th. Of course, the game will take place, and I didn't say this, on Saturday, April 30th. If you are in Asia, or if you're in Asia, China, Taiwan, of course, both of those of which are part of Asia, the game will take place then on Saturday, April 30th instead. So looking forward to hear what everybody else thinks about this. This is one of the best ones. This is definitely one of the funnest, most enjoyable games of Jeremy's career to this point, and just glad that we can all share in it. So take care. Hope you're having a great night, a great day, wherever you are around the world. We'll talk to you again soon in less than 48 hours, and hopefully we'll be talking about a Charlotte Hornets series victory. Take care. See you then.